Why, hello everyone, how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge, in particular, a Helldiver survival challenge. And even more in particular, a Terminid survival challenge. That's right, if you've been on this channel for any amount of time, you know my feelings on this subject. Most people think the Illuminates are the most powerful faction that Super Earth has to fight against. I call bullshit. The absolute most powerful faction of the entire Helldivers universe is the Terminids by far. I think they are way too fucking broken. I have no idea how Super Earth is going to deal with this situation, and I am sitting on pins and needles waiting to find out. Because these motherfuckers are busted. It's not fair. And because they're so unfair, I figure I'd make a whole challenge just about them. Take 4 just different, I don't actually know who's gonna be in the video yet. I haven't figured it out. But 4 fucking dudes. I'm just gonna take 4 dudes, 4 groups, 4 factions, whatever you wanna call them, and then I'm just gonna chuck them on at the Terminids and see if they can deal with a spreading Terminid infestation. Can they overcome the unstoppable might of the Terminids? I don't know, why are you asking me? That's what we're here to find out. But I'm wasting enough of your time. Let's get started. But before we get started with this, I guess I should tell you a little bit about the challenge that our factions are going to have to go up against. Specifically, what's the Terminids? What's their whole deal? What are they up to? What are they into? What's their sexual preference? And luckily for me, this is going to actually be a pretty simple section, because while they are very powerful and have a lot of really cool shit, they don't really have that much shit. It's like streamlined. It's like really good but few shit. So basically the Terminids are just a bunch of bug aliens that are asexual. See, I told you we're gonna go over their sexuality, and can repopulate entire planets with just a single Terminid. Basically every single Terminid releases spores. These spores attach to shit, grow into big ass eggs. Eggs pop, and then they just keep doing that over and over and over again, and they spread insanely fast. Before the beginning of the Second Galactic War, there was a bunch of these motherfuckers in farms that Super Earth was using for their blood, because their blood has very similar properties to that of oil, and since they populate so fast, you can basically have an infinite amount of oil, and essentially you have permanent clean energy for the most part. But a few of them were like, you know what, this whole slave shit, I'm not big on it, let's dip. And they did. They busted out of prison, and just those few that busted out, we don't have an exact number, but we know it wasn't a very large number, they were able to populate like a third of the whole fucking galaxy in like a couple of weeks. It is super fast repopulation. And yes, I said a third of the galaxy, which means they are also capable of shooting those spores through space and spreading those spores to other planets in the galaxy. They're not just confined to one single planet. On top of that, they're capable of extremely fast evolution of not only behaviors and tactics, but also their genetics and biology. You see, when the Super Earth first came into contact with Terminids, they were relatively peaceful species, mostly like animals. And then through the constant butchering of Terminids and using their blood as a fuel source, they started getting smarter and smarter, started to understand how to fight, started growing bladed limbs and shit so they could fight back. Now they spew acid. They got way bigger than they were before, and started growing armored skin to the point that they're completely bulletproof. The only way that you can actually hurt them at this point is by having armor-piercing rounds, which is why literally all of the ammunition used by the entire Super Earth military has to be armor-piercing rounds of some kind. And while it's not factual, it is heavily implied that there's some form of a hive mind, and also possibly blind, and use some form of echolocation in order to see their prey. Now that's what they are on a very basic level. But like most factions within Helldivers other than automatons, because I don't know why, they're just ignored for some reason, they do have their nuclear options, their super weapons, their shit that just makes them so far more powerful than what they really have any right to be. First nuclear option is what happens when you allow them to spread uncontrolled for too long. This is something that's only happened once so far in the game, but it does show exactly what I'm about to talk about. If the spread of the Terminids are not stopped by force and they're left to their own devices, they will spread across a planet, and the infestation will get so bad that they basically burrow most of the center of the planet out and make the planets, I guess the way you would call it is like a planet-sized nest. The planet itself starts producing spores at an insanely fast rate, and those spores start spreading to other planets. While they are capable of spreading without this happening to a planet, once this does happen, the speed at which they spread become completely unstoppable. At least Super Earth considered it unstoppable. When a planet gets to this point, as far as Super Earth is concerned, that planet's done. There's no salvaging it. You can't undo it, which is why they opened up the black hole in the center of Meridia, destroying the planet and sucking up all the spores within a black hole. The way they saw it is that that blowing up that planet would have no longer worked to stop it, you still would have spread those spores. Now, how this works, we don't actually know. We're not exactly sure, like, the process of turning a planet into a basically Terminid nest, but we do know that it does happen. And at least as far as Super Earth's technology is concerned, that's it. It should also be noted that because Super Earth didn't consider it a viable option to just destroy the planet without creating a black hole, that at least Super Earth believes that the Terminids could pretty easily survive in space, even if you completely destroy the atmosphere and blow the planet into little fucking pieces. Which makes sense since the spores themselves are shown to be able to survive traveling through space just fine, and spores are a living creature. The Terminids surviving in space as well is not really that far of a stretch. But the absolute craziest, most powerful bullshit thing that the Terminids can do is by far the gloom. The gloom is the ultimate weapon, and in my opinion, the absolute most dangerous, most powerful thing that exists within the Helldivers universe. The gloom is a massive, massive, extremely thick spore cloud that spreads at an insanely fast rate across an entire galaxy. Anything that enters this gloom cloud is completely destroyed, ripped apart, killed. We don't exactly know how it happens, but we know that even armored ships and shit cannot fly in the gloom, or else the spore clouds completely rip the fucking ship apart, which is particularly impressive because they're fucking spores. They're like microscopic in size. Not only does this spore cloud completely kill or destroy anything that flies in it that is not Terminid, basically, but the Terminids themselves being in the spore cloud, the spores basically act as an incubator that kickstart and advance their evolutionary track. This is particularly impressive considering how fast their evolution already is, but the gloom just takes it to a whole new level. I mean, a couple weeks after this thing appeared, we started getting flying Terminids, which we had never had before. Now we have fucking Predator, Invisible Terminids, and we're starting to see all sorts of variations of different Terminid strands that have all kinds of new crazy powers and abilities after really only a couple weeks in some case. And it should also be noted that the spore cloud is said to double in size every day, or at least it was originally, and it should be noted that the gloom is said to be able to double in size every single day, which is insanely fast. If you knew how fast that was and how fast that should take over the entire galaxy, it's crazy fast. Now, having said that, it's been quite some time the gloom has not yet taken over the entire galaxy, and the reason for that is because the gloom actually stopped. It just stopped growing entirely, and we don't know why. We weren't given a story or lore reason as to why the gloom just suddenly stopped spreading. I personally have a theory, but it is just a theory, so I'm not going to take it too seriously. But I personally think the gloom storyline was supposed to be done a long time ago, but because of all sorts of issues that were happening behind the scenes, from them having to fix the gun situation and create 700,000 new servers when the game dropped, and a bunch of other problems that the game was having, like it losing a bunch of its players, and there was a lot of issues and drama behind the scenes. It basically made them have to move things around. All in all, I think they moved around the events of what was supposed to happen, and the Illuminates got pushed up before the gloom situation was dealt with, and they put that on hold so that they can do the Illuminates thing, so they can get all their players back after people were pissed off about all the gun shit and the nerfing and things like that. That's my theory. I don't know if it's true, but other than that, we weren't given any reason as to why the gloom just suddenly stopped out of nowhere. The Terminids don't really have any reason as to why they would stop spreading the gloom, and if it kept growing at the rate that it was for the first few weeks that it was out, it would have taken over the entire galaxy already, and everyone would have fucking lost. That's my theory right now, but I can't really talk too deeply about it until Arrowhead actually reveals what makes the gloom grow and what makes it not grow, because as of right now, it just seemed like this unstoppable spreading force that was gonna kill everybody until it just felt like not doing that anymore. Honestly, as much as I like the whole Illuminate try and take over Super Earth thing, I was kind of more interested in the gloom shit because it just seemed conceptually more interesting. Like, it's just a weird thing to have happen. This giant fucking spore cloud just spreading across the galaxy like some fucking Galactus level threat that we have to deal with. I don't know, I just like it. I think it's fucking cool. And I think that's it. That's really all there is for the Terminids. Like I said, it's not a whole lot, but the stuff they do have is you know, pretty potent. So it's some good shit. Now let's get on to our invaders. First up on the chopping block, we have the Ceph from the Crysis series. So let me be clear, I'm putting the Ceph first on the list, but I don't entirely believe they should be first on the list. It's just that we don't actually know enough about this faction for me to put them any higher. So in case you never played Crysis, the Ceph are a hive mind group of weird squid-looking creatures that use nanotechnology and are space colonizers, basically. They have a lot of advanced technology, and they very easily push humanity to the brink of extinction, despite the fact that we're only fighting a very, very small fraction of them, and they're basically like a working-class miner type of Ceph. They're not even like the full brunt of their military. It would sort of be like if America took a bunch of carpenters and just like chucked them at some enemy nation to invade and fuck up all their people, and they succeeded. And then those people who were invaded by the carpenters find out they're carpenters, and actually we got Navy SEALs over here too, we just haven't used them yet. That's basically what the Ceph are. The reason for this is that while the Ceph are a hive mind, they're not just one giant hive mind, they're more so a bunch of pockets of different hive minds. When one hive mind gets advanced enough, it conquers a world and then turns that world into a seed world and moves on. From that seed world spouts a new hive mind that is completely self-contained. It has no actual connection to the other hive mind. That other hive mind just moves on and goes and does something totally different, and it may never come into contact with the hive mind that it created before. So just for comparison, human knowledge comes from passing down generational knowledge from parents to children to grandchildren, on and on and on. And as time goes by, humanity as a whole becomes more intelligent and more advanced. So a high schooler today has more knowledge inside their head than the smartest man on earth 2,000 years ago. Just like the smartest man on earth today isn't going to know half as much as a high schooler 2,000 or 3,000 years from now. That's just kind of how it works. The Ceph don't work that way at all. When one hive mind creates a sieve world and just fucks off, that new sieve world doesn't get any of the knowledge of the hive that created it. It just has to start from scratch and learn and grow. And it's super, super fast at doing that because it's a hive mind. Any little bit of knowledge that any individual Ceph has is added to the hive mind, and this allows them to advance very, very quickly. In mere decades, they can become far more advanced than the entire human civilization that has existed for millions and millions of years. The Ceph that exist on Earth within Crysis are actually a relatively newborn hive mind. They're so young that the alpha Ceph that basically controls all of the other Ceph and is the core of the hive has only existed for about 30 years. It's super, super young. In Crysis 3, when humanity was actually starting to fight off the Ceph and winning the war, they decided to open up a wormhole to invite more advanced Ceph into our world. Ceph that were theorized in the story to have been evolving for 500 million years. The scientists on Earth came to the conclusion that even if one of these individual Ceph were to come through the portal, all of Earth would be completely doomed, and we just could not allow this portal to be opened. They compared a single Ceph warrior on the other side of this portal to basically being a god to humanity. They said that the Ceph that were currently on Earth were basically the equivalent to cavemen who were throwing rocks at people in comparison to the Ceph that were going to come through that wormhole. It was a big deal. The opening of the wormhole was set up as being an absolute impossible thing to overcome. They could not allow the wormhole to be opened. And this is why it is extremely difficult for me to actually come to a conclusion of how well the Ceph would actually do, because within the game, they succeed in not allowing that wormhole to be open, so we never see what the most advanced Ceph can do. All we see are these shitty cavemen Ceph that are very, very young and can't really do all that much. In terms of what they can do, basically all of their technology is based around nanotechnology. They have these really hard armors that most guns can't shoot through. They can heal themselves. They have freeze weapons and electric weapons. The wormhole they create that allows them to travel from one planet to another planet on the other side of the galaxy is said to have enough energy that is capable of destroying the entire planet. So it's very easy to come to the determination that even these super not advanced Ceph are capable of blowing up whole planets. If they wanted to, they could destroy Earth anytime. The only reason why they don't is because they don't actually want to do this. The whole reason they go to war with Earth is because the entire purpose of their species is creation and growth, and they don't want to destroy planets. They go to war with humanity because they see humanity as a threat to the planet Earth, and they see the Earth as being more valuable than the humans are, so they decide to wipe them out. So basically what you have with this Ceph is a super advanced, super intelligent hive mind that constantly grows and reacts to the situations around it by getting advanced technology due to this sort of group thought thing it's got going on, and whose whole goal is to spread and colonize worlds for what they view to be the betterment of the galaxy as a whole, as other advanced species tend to destroy these places rather than actually build them up. Can a species like this overcome the Terminid? Again, it's really hard to say because we don't know what the other Cephs are capable of. The Cephs that we see in Crysis, no, they're gonna fucking die. While they do have planet-destroying technology, it's literally against their character to actually use it. So they're just gonna have to kill the Terminids the normal way, and the Terminids vastly, vastly outnumber them, and also not only have a hive mind, but also an incredibly fast evolution that allows them to get more and more powerful. In in a very, very short amount of time. I mean, in a matter of months, they went from just being bugs that spew acid to now flying, turning invisible, and having all different other kind of cool powers. Now, one thing the Ceph does do to humanity that I think will be really useful against the Terminids is the fact that they were actually capable of creating a virus on Earth that spread like a fucking plague and was killing millions and millions of people all across the world. And they may be able to do something like this against the Terminids, possibly, but I would say that this would be far less effective on the Terminids, given that the Terminids have a super fast evolutionary ability. They were literally able to adapt armor because guns were killing them. So I don't see a reason why their biology wouldn't change to also adapt to any virus or disease that was introduced to them by the Ceph. And honestly, at the end of the day, the Ceph that we see in the game doesn't have a way of getting around the gloom. If the Terminids wanted to release the gloom and then just spread it across the entire galaxy, killing everything, I mean, this shit is capable of destroying ships that Super Earth send into it. So I don't see any reason why the technology that the Ceph have would defend it against it. Basically, what you end up having here is a super technologically advanced hive mind species going up another hive mind species that just has way more of and is way better at evolution and adaptation than they are, which is going to cause the Ceph to die at a far faster rate than the Terminids are and eventually be wiped out. Their only real hope would be to open up the wormhole and allow the other better Ceph to come through, which maybe you could say those Ceph, since they're so built up as these god level beings, would be able to take on the Terminids in some way, but we never actually see them, so I can't even really comment on it. And honestly, the fact that they had to open up a wormhole to let these people in kind of makes me doubt their advancement. Like, they need to open up a wormhole. They don't have ships that could just travel across the galaxy at massively faster than light speeds or instantaneous travel like even Super Earth is capable of. Super Earth's individual ships can open up wormholes and travel from one planet on one side of the galaxy to another planet on the other side of the galaxy in like no time. It's nearly instantly, and even the most advanced Ceph don't have this technology. So honestly, just how advanced are they? So yeah, as of right now, I see the Terminids win, but I mean, we need to see Crysis 4 to see what these more powerful Ceph are capable of before I can really say much else. Because again, we're dealing with a very, very small, very young, weaker faction version of what the Ceph are truly capable of. Only time will tell. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, if you join the membership, you get videos early. Don't forget, we have a Discord. You can go on the Discord and do really awesome, crazy party and pants shit. We got debate and tier lists and all sorts of other streams every weekend, Saturday at 7 p.m. Occasionally it'll be on Sunday at 7 p.m. Make sure you're here for that. That'll be a lot of fun. And we have a second channel, Rouga's Real House. Go check that out, because anything that's not a survival challenge that I create, I will be making over there. This will be game reviews, movie reviews, just whatever the fuck I feel like talking about, possibly some other series as well. Go check that out. Are you tired of me wasting your time? So am I. Let's continue on to the video. Next up on the list, we have the Viltrumites from Invincible, and I think everyone and their mother is gonna tell me that the Viltrumites should win against the Terminids. And I agree, in a one-on-one fight. Hell, even a 1 on 10,000 fight, I think they would win. But a war over the domination of an entire galaxy is more than just a fight between a couple of dudes. At the end of the day, the Viltrumites only have about 50 people, right? Outside of those 50 people, they do start mating with, I guess, what they would call the lesser species and making like little shittier versions of Viltrumites. And they also have a very large galactic army of other species that are not Viltrumites that are considerably weaker. Considering that literally all of those will be able to be killed by the gloom super easily, the only thing that won't be killed by the gloom are the Viltrumites themselves, possibly even the stronger Viltrumites, since the fucking gloom can actually destroy through the hull of ships and shit, where yes, there are very strong Viltrumites that are more durable than that. We've also seen weaker Viltrumites that are not necessarily that strong, and if you can rip through the hull of a ship with your bare hands, you could probably kill some of the weaker Viltrumites. So this means it's just really gonna be like the 50 dudes or so against the Terminids. Like, they can't, that's too many. There is a limit to what you can kill. What are the Viltrumites gonna do? Destroy every single fucking planet in the entire galaxy to stop the Terminid from spreading? That wouldn't work, because their spores can literally travel through space. Viltrumites just don't have the numbers to be able to keep up with the spread of the Terminids in any way, regardless of how long they have to kill them all. These motherfuckers populate at an insanely fast speed, and with them being able to kill basically any species that's not Viltrumite with just their own bare claws, I guess, because they don't have hands. And the gloom spreading across the entire galaxy, and once it gets to the edges, possibly even outside of that, the universe and even more galaxies. What exactly are the Viltrumites' options here? This has very few possible endings. Either one, everybody dies except for the Viltrumites through the gloom and through the constant attacks of the Terminids. The Viltrumites will then just eventually die out of fucking age because they can't repopulate, or they'll start relying on incest, in which case in a couple generations you'll have a bunch of fucking retarded, shitty Viltrumites anyway. Or with the gloom acting as an incubator and supercharging the evolutionary powers of the Terminids could potentially eventually get so strong they can actually stand a chance against the Viltrumites. I mean, it only took a month or two for them to acquire flight and invisibility. What do you think they'll be capable of acquiring in thousands and thousands of years, which is how long Viltrumites live? Once this is let go for 2 or 3 or 4,000 years, because there's literally nothing the Viltrumites can do to stop it, you'll basically have Terminids that are planet-sized Cthulhu monsters just flying through space and fucking dudes up. If you guys can see a way that the Viltrumites can possibly overcome this spread, please let me know, because when I announced that this video was coming out, a lot of people were saying the Viltrumites just completely solo, and I don't get it. I don't see how that's possible. Their empire, whether you're talking about the Viltrumites themselves or the lower races that are serving them, are not shown to deal with the insane spread of the Viltrumites. As I said, the gloom itself will kill most of them. So, yeah, I don't get where you guys are coming from on this one. Just because Viltrumites can hit harder than Terminids doesn't mean that that's the only factor for who can win. There's a lot more involved with this. If there's 10 of me and 100,000 toddlers, and every day those 100,000 toddlers double in number, how long do you think it'll take before those toddlers can actually kill me? Even if I can kill the first 100,000, eventually I'm gonna just get fatigued and fucking die, and I'm gonna have a bunch of little toddlers kicking the shit out of my dead corpse. All 10 of my dead corpses. Like, the numbers, evolution, and survivability of the Terminids is absolutely more than enough to just, well, honestly, just outlive the fucking Viltrumites. They don't really even have to fight them for the most part. Yeah, this is a wash. Terminids win. Next up, we have Azrak's demonic horde from Doom the Dark Ages. Now, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. I've spent the last week talking about this faction and going over them in my other Doom videos. Not gonna go over it now. Really, this fight's gonna boil down to one thing. What's gonna happen first? Is the gloom gonna spread across the galaxy, killing the demons first? Or is the demonic corruption going to corrupt the Terminids and turn them into demons? That's it. That's really the main and only question that's gonna matter here. In terms of numbers, they're both basically infinite. I mean, we know that demons are infinite, although Azrak doesn't have all of the demons. He has like his own faction, but it's so numerous that he was able to go to war with the Sentinels, who rule an entire universe. Whereas the Terminids, again, aren't infinite, but spread and create new people so fast that they're basically infinite. Like, you're not going to get through all of them. And the fact that they can always hide within the gloom where no one can travel without dying means that there's really no way of permanently wiping them out unless you have something that can get rid of the gloom or are capable of surviving in it, like the Viltrumites probably are. The demons are physically very durable and stuff, but there's really nothing shown in the Dark Ages that would prove that they're so durable they would not be able to be destroyed by the gloom when whole fucking ships can be destroyed by the gloom. I don't think the demons are just going to be able to travel on planets in the gloom and go to war and just completely ignore them, basically. And at the same time, the demonic corruption is nowhere near the same potency that it was in Doom Eternal, which is capable of affecting things like inanimate objects and gravity and physics and all this kind of shit. In Doom the Dark Ages, it's barely shown really working on the Sentinels all that well. That is due to the Sentinels being magically enhanced and being kind of like part wraith. So they're not like normal humans. I mean, that does make sense, but we don't really ever see the demonic corruption in this weaker state like take over an entire group of people, or how fast it takes. There's really nothing I could say on that. It would basically just be me making massive assumptions about how quick this shit works. We have a much better grasp on the demonic corruption in Eternal than we do here, and the only thing we really know is that it's much, much weaker here. I do think that there's some interesting questions to ask here. Like, for instance, could the corruption corrupt the spores themselves, like the gloom itself, since spores are living creatures? I mean, they're really small and aren't like thinking creatures necessarily, at least not thinking in the way that you and I do, but they are living biological creatures. So can the corruption work on them? Like, we've never seen the corruption work on an amoeba, you know, or bacteria. Would it be able to do that? We've never seen it work on animals. It doesn't work on the dragons that the Sentinels use. Like, we just don't see it ever work in that way. So really, this is less of me coming to a conclusion and more so me just asking a question: what's gonna happen first? Because in an outright fight, the demons win. Like, if the demons fight against the Terminids and they're on the ground level just, you know, throwing magical, demonic shit at people, and then you got the Terminids throwing acid and stuff, the demons are completely winning. They're way faster, way stronger, way more powerful. Put 100 soldiers on both sides, have them clash, demons are coming out on top. That's not really the issue here. I just don't think that this particular engagement is going to come down to that, because it doesn't matter how many Terminids the demons kill if they can't deal with the gloom and go inside the gloom, because it's just a matter of time before the gloom spreads to the point that they would be forced to go into it just to deal with all the Terminids in there. I mean, even if the gloom just stops spreading, right, like it does in the game, let's just say it stops growing, the demons would still have to go into it to kill the Terminids, because the Terminids will just keep producing more Terminids inside the gloom, and they'll keep evolving, getting more advanced, and sending those Terminids outside of the gloom. It'll basically be like this massive sort of safety area that they can go to where demons can't enter. So demons will literally never be able to wipe them all out. Now, to be fair, if they did do that and the gloom stopped, then I think it's probably just a matter of time before the corruption does get to them, I guess. Because again, it's sort of weird, because the corruption seems to work better, especially in the Dark Ages, on people who specifically have desires that could be corrupted. But the Terminids' only desires are to survive and spread. They don't have complex human thoughts like we do. They're intelligent and they're a hive mind, but they more so exist solely for one particular purpose, and they do that purpose relatively well. Can you tempt or corrupt something that's just such a pure purpose, I guess? You know, like if your only reason to exist was to do this one thing, that's all you want to do, and that's just your whole thing, can someone tempt you to do something else? Like, there's nothing that you want or that you desire that could be tempted, so there's nothing to corrupt. So I actually think that just the corruption at this point in the story will just be less effective against the Terminids as it would to a normal person, even some Sentinels, because they're capable of having corrupt thoughts. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this one be a question to you guys. Do you guys think the Doom corruption will overtake the Terminids, or that the demons will be able to fight inside the gloom, or do you think the gloom would spread and they would just kill all the demons, or the gloom would stop and then it would just become an infinite fight with the demons constantly having to fight all the Terminids that are coming out, and the Terminids are just very rapidly evolving over and over again? I don't think that the Terminids will ever be able to stop the demons, because they're not going to make like a trans-dimensional barrier like the Sentinels did. How do you keep the demons out without the use of advanced technology? The Terminids aren't like that. They don't have technology. All their shit is just biological. Last up, but certainly not least, we have the Naytiba from Stellar Blade. God damn it. Okay, so if you've been watching this video and you feel like I'm rushing through these points very quickly and I'm not going on a whole lot of tangents or explaining myself or telling as many jokes, or it's just generally not my normal, lovable, awesome self that you come here to watch these videos for, it's because it won't stop fucking thundering outside. It starts and it stops and it starts and it stops. So I have to keep stopping to record, waiting for the thunder to go by, then I record and thunder comes back. So I'm trying to get through the goddamn video recordings before the thunder comes back, and the time of the thunder goes away, but it can't make up its goddamn mind. It's ruining my whole vibe. Fuck you, Thunder. And then Thunder's looking back at me and just being all like, oh, no, fuck you. And this has been my whole day. It's just this the whole time. Fuck it, I'm getting through it. I don't care. I'm getting this fucking video up by tomorrow. Ain't nothing you can do about it, Thunder. Right, so I think Naytiba's actually gonna win this one. I'm not gonna lie. They basically have all the stuff that they need to do in order to overcome all the stuff that the Terminid has. Not only do they have extremely fast adaptive abilities that are arguably considerably better than that of the Terminids, and are just generally a far more stronger, and those evolutions come in a much larger variety. Naytiba and Stellar Blade differ so greatly in terms of their evolutionary track and their adaptive abilities that if you take two different types of Naytiba and compare them, they look like totally different species, even though they all start as the exact same species. Some Naytiba can summon fucking lightning from the sky. I don't even know how you adapt and evolve to do that. There's a Naytiba in this game called Demogorgon that is the size of a fucking city. And not only is the Naytiba a race of beings, but it's also an infection that can spread to other people, and it's even shown spreading to androids and robots, turning them into Naytiba. So you can actually have like metal biological Naytiba beings. The Naytiba are kind of the closest thing to the Flood that aren't the Flood that I can think of, except they're even kind of better than the Flood. blood because their adaptation abilities are so much better. So how exactly do I think this is going to go if the Terminids come into contact with the Naytiba? It's going to go very, very poorly. They're going to start getting infected by the Naytiba and actually turning into Naytiba themselves. When they are infected by Naytiba, they will then be able to survive inside the gloom because they are technically Terminids, and you're going to have a bunch of Naytiba Terminids basically going into the gloom and killing the rest of the Terminids. I don't know if the Naytiba can actually affect the gloom itself and possibly make like a Naytiba version of a gloom. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It would really depend on how the gloom is created. Like, can any Terminid create the gloom, or is there a specific Terminid that creates a gloom? Do they create some kind of weird nest thing that creates the gloom? We don't know. But as long as at some point the Naytiba come into contact with the Terminids and are capable of actually turning them into Naytiba, they're gonna be fine. And honestly, the Naytiba's adaptation abilities are so goddamn overpowered, they can probably just adapt to the gloom even if they don't turn any of the Terminids. Like, there's just so many different versions of Naytiba. It's not just that some fly and some shoot acid and some do this. It's like some can wield light itself as a weapon. Some can survive in space. Some are underwater creatures. Some of them look like and talk like humans. Some of them are plants. Some of them have mind control abilities. Like, it's just all over the place. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to adapt to the gloom, considering all the other crazy shit they've been able to adapt to. And when you look at just straight up their physicals, it's insane. There are characters in this game that are faster than light. Confirmed. Like, multiple characters in the game, including Naytiba, use light as a weapon. And I'm not just talking about, oh, they fire like some laser looking thing, so it must be light. No, it's like actually light. Like, it's stated to be light. It is light. It looks like light. It behaves like light. It's fucking light. There's a character in the game named Tacky who is named after tachyon particles because she's so fast that she can move faster than light. Ergo, she moves as fast as tachyon particles. She actually uses tachyon particles in her attacks. Tachyon particles are faster than light. And the main character of the series, Eve, beats her in a fight and then steals her tachyon powers. And there are still people within the game that she fights after that. It's like halfway through the game. There's still people in boss and shit she fights after that who are shown to be just as fast as she is, and they fight like on par. We see Naytiba in here that are so strong that they can lift hundreds of thousands of tons. Like, in just basic ground combat, there's no question. You're putting basically over the top anime characters against like some bug dudes from a way more grounded and realistic series. Kind of strange that I'm calling Helldivers a grounded and realistic series, but I mean, comparatively, yeah, it kind of is. And yeah, that's basically what you're left with. This does happen on occasion where I have a particular faction that's like the main faction that all the other people have to go up against, and it just seems like one faction was specifically built to deal with that other faction. This is kind of one of those situations. The Naytiba just has all of the counters that it needs to overcome the Terminids, and there's really not a whole lot the Terminids can do about it. I honestly don't see an argument that can be made that the Terminids would win against the Naytiba other than you just thinking that the gloom would come in and take them all out, which I think just goes against the shit that we've seen the Naytiba be able to do. Even if they can't adapt, they can still take over the other Terminids. Yeah, no, this is over. There's nothing the Terminids can do. They're fucking done. But that's gonna be all from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, and join the membership. Remember, if you join the membership, you get videos early. And always remember, y'all stay safe out there, you hear?